Okay, so for anybody in this room who's been hiding underneath a rock for the last 5 years, the Tobacco Products Directive is the framework legislation for electronic cigarettes in the European Union. I promise to be significantly less than 10 minutes. I have 3 slides. One of them is this one, which has a lovely picture on it. The second one has my disclosures on it. They're not particularly interesting. I consult for a whole range of nicotine companies. I have done some work on smokeless tobacco. I do not go anywhere near combustible tobacco. And then this slide will talk about the 5 things that I believe that we've learned in the 2 years or so of operation of the Tobacco Products Directive. The first one is fairly obvious. If you're in a regulated industry and investors understand the regulatory environment in which you are operating, they will feel more comfortable investing in the category and growing in the category. We've seen this with the acquisition of CN Creative in 2012. CN Creative was a British company that was acquired by BAT when everybody thought that the framework was going to be medicinal in the European Union. British American Tobacco saw this and thought, great, a company that is comfortable working in a regulated environment. We'll have that, thank you very much. When the TPD came in, investors became a lot more comfortable with reduced risk products and continued to purchase assets that they felt would give them a return on investment in this new environment. See also Japan Tobacco with E-Lights and Imperial Tobacco with Blue. The industry embraces the Tobacco Products Directive. There have been, I think at last count, 140,000 product notifications that have been made in the European Union. This demonstrates that, broadly speaking, the industry has confidence in the regulatory framework, but unfortunately, pointless rules do lead to pointless loopholes. I point you in the direction of short fills, which were very easily foreseeable. For those of you in the audience who do not know what a short fill is, a short fill is where a supplier gives the consumer a 0 nicotine e-liquid and an 18 milligram 10 milliliter shot, and they mix it together, thereby getting a large bottle of e-liquid and completely circumventing the utterly pointless 10 ml bottles rule that essentially is there to help the plastic bottles industry. Advertising rules leave misinformation unchallenged. This should be a fairly straightforward point to understand, but somehow the regulators missed it. We are now seeing in both major markets, in Europe, according to the Eurobarometer survey, and in the US, according to the PATH data, people now think vaping is more dangerous than smoking in much larger numbers. It is not difficult to figure out why this is. There is a large industry with a lot of money and a great incentive to counter this misinformation, but unfortunately in pretty much every single major market they are prohibited from doing so. This leaves the lunatics to run the asylum, and what we see is utterly mistruthful rubbish about the category, which leads smokers to think that they may as well carry on smoking. This is clearly bad. And finally, for the small band of lunatics in the room who believe that Brexit is going to sort all of this out in the United Kingdom and leave us with a great new regulatory system which will remove all the arbitrary nonsense and keep the good stuff, I am terribly sorry to have to tell you that this is not going to happen. The United Kingdom has far more pressing matters to deal with than Brexit, so if you're in the UK, sorry, but the likelihood is you're stuck with this nonsense for at least the next decade. And that's it. Thank you.